Yeah, how's it going, everyone? I'm Clancy. And my Wattle Fellowship project has been on native bee hotels, and it's something that I've fallen in love with recently, native bees. And I've also come to realise that the average person knows stuff all about native bees. So I'd like anyone in the audience, if you knew tonight before I got up here, if anyone knew that Australia had native bees at all, put your hand up. So there's quite a few. Is anyone familiar with how many species there are? Keep your hand up if you think there's more than 10 species. More than 100? Anyone think there's more than 500? Anyone think there's more than 1,000? There's probably a few of the bee nerds that know this. So yeah, there's over 2,000 species of native bees, and they're obviously really important to the biodiversity of Australia, the world, and everywhere. Why bee hotels? So within 10 kilometres of this room right now, there's 102 different native species of bee that call Melbourne home and the surrounds. And within Melbourne, there's lots of flowers, I'll give it that. So they've got the resources, but one thing that Melbourne doesn't have as much of is nesting materials and resources. So there's not as many native trees, like you might see a few trees around, but they're probably elms and oak trees and jacarandas. So we need more eucalypts, and we also need more bare soil for the ground nesting bees, because there's a lot of impermeable surface in Melbourne. And so why bee hotels? Bee hotels are great supplementary nesting material for native bees, and they're simple design, they're easy to make, and they're very effective. So here's just a few examples of bee hotels. This is bee hotels for cavity nesting bees. You can make them out of native hardwood or reeds or dead flowers, hollow stems, pithy stems, that sort of thing. And what you might expect to see in some of these native bees, like the leafcutter bees, which are really cool, and you get some of these like mast bees and reed bees and resin bees. There's like a real plethora of different native bees that will nest in those cavity ones. And then there's also another design that simulates just the ground, and this can be put in a backyard that might not have any bare ground, and you might expect to see some ground nesting bees like the blue-banded bee, which is, if anyone knows a native bee, they probably know that one. It's pretty famous. And that makes up 70% of our Australian bee species that nest in the ground. So of those 2,000, a lot of them love nesting in the ground, so it's important we get some more permeable surfaces around Melbourne. And so a part of my project is I've been limited to making bee hotels myself. I'm only one person, and I only have enough time and enough free labour out of my old man. So one thing I've been trying to do is educate people on how to build them themselves, and putting out online material out there, through videos and posts and my website and things. And so I've amassed like a couple 100,000 views, so I'm pretty proud of that. But one thing when I boiled it down was that I've had over 410 hours of view time from people right across Melbourne and Australia, and even across the world. And one thing that really stood out for how long that actually is, if anyone sat through the Titanic movie, which just goes forever, that's the same as doing that 126 times in a row. So there's clearly a few people that don't mind listening about stuff about bees. And through this social media and engaging with people online, I've built an awesome community, and it's been really rewarding for me and keep me inspired to keep on going and putting out content for people. I've had some really awesome comments, probably a few people in the room or whatever, but thanks if you have left me something nice. It's inspired me. And I went through a lot, and I come up with my 3 favourite things that people have said to me. So the first one was early on, someone just inspired me, and I think they sort of might have foreshadowed my project with the passion and energy that I've put into it. This guy, he's not even Australian, he's from North America or somewhere, and he shows his stuff, so it's probably not even that relevant over there, but he likes to show the people at work. And then this was my favourite. I tried to get this nickname, but it didn't stick, so he called me the Bee Bomb, and I really like that one, but hasn't stuck. So the other part of my Wattle Fellowship was the personal development that I come about from this. And especially early on, joining up and being new to the field and really not feeling like I had the right experience and that sort of thing. I just had the energy and drive to do stuff, but I definitely felt a bit of imposter syndrome. And one thing that was really good with the Wattle Fellowship was just going to the workshops and networking and being introduced to new people and being in uncomfortable situations and sort of losing my fear of rejection and just getting out there. And then that brought about a lot of opportunities, and I had heaps of small breakthroughs and small wins, which I've definitely celebrated with my little community, and it's just been really inspiring. And so here's some of the stuff that I've done throughout the project. I've gone to markets to sell bee hotels, as well as doing workshops and talks about native bees and pollinators. And I even ended up landing a job as like an environmental educator that goes to primary schools to talk about pollinators with the little kids, and yeah, they love them just as much, so that's really awesome. And so a few takeaways from today. If you're going to take anything away from today, please go home and tell a friend that there's over 2,000 native species bee and they need our help. So yeah, there are native bees in Australia, not just the honeybees. That's really important to know. I'd like everyone to have a crack at making your own bee hotel, because you can buy one off me at the end, but it's probably easier to make it yourself. And also plant Indigenous flowering plants, get the flowers and the nesting material up and about in our gardens. And so yeah, I'd like to thank a few people, and I don't want this presentation to be a reflection. I want it to just be part of the journey, and if you want to jump on for the rest of it, feel free to scan up and have a talk to me at the end of it. So thanks, guys.